Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. With us is Speaker Newt Gingrich. And, well, to me, a speaker is always a speaker. And one good friend, one smart guy. And you've been stationed with Callista in Switzerland because of her position as ambassador. You get the pulse of the world changing from the European point aside, from the Asian point aside. There's so many deals being made with new alliances. You tell me what you're concerned about.
Well, look, I think the first thing people need to realize is that the United States is back. Our economy is growing. The amount of investments being poured into our country is astonishing, unlike anything we've ever seen. And part of that leads to a natural reaction. The Europeans cannot continue to function the way they have been. Their society is decaying. They are being drowned in immigrants who do not assimilate, and they are relying on regulation rather than innovation, so that they're just falling behind. When you realize of the 9 companies that are worth over $1 trillion, 2 are Chinese and 7 are American and 0 are European, you can understand how big the problem is. And of course, the European elites are very arrogant. They look historically back to the world where they were the dominant center of the planet, and they refuse to admit that that world is gone. Meanwhile, you have emerging powers like India, to a lesser extent Brazil, certainly China, and the result is that the Europeans are very confused. You saw the same thing with the Canadian Prime Minister, who went off to China, made a big deal about it. He's going to shift Canadian influence from the U.S. to China. Well, if you look at a map, that's impossible. The Canadian economy is totally intertwined with the American economy, and if they try to actually replace us with the Chinese, they'll be so much poorer and so much more unable to compete in the world market that it would just be amazing. So a lot of things are going on. At the same time, you have a Trump administration with a Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, whose parents fled Cuba. Marco grew up in Miami. He is the most focused on Latin America of any American Secretary of State in history. We already have begun changing Venezuela. I have no doubt that we'll be changing Cuba, and probably beyond Cuba, Nicaragua. And I think the result will be enormous pressure on Mexico. These are big changes, and they're overdue changes. From 1949 to today, we protected all of Western Europe, and they relied on us, and they took money they should have spent on defense, and they spent it on welfare payments, and the result is they couldn't defend themselves today if they had to. And they're going to have to very profoundly change what they're doing. The Swiss have just announced, for example, that they're passing a tax increase specifically to pay for defense, because they've begun to realize, and Trump has been very good, and so has J.D. Vance, about trying to say to these guys, look, you have an obligation to do your share. And I think that gradually that's beginning to sink in. They don't like it. I mean, imagine you've been loaning your brother-in-law your car, and then one morning you said to him, I don't think I want to loan it to you anymore. Well, he'd be mad at you. He wouldn't be grateful you loaned it to him all those years. He'd be mad at you for not loaning it to him now. And that's where we are with the Europeans.
Absolutely. And I didn't understand last week's meeting between the European Union and, India. And then another alliance between Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. And it just, there's so many deals we made. And gold, all of a sudden, gold goes to 5,500 and may go higher.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The world has become unhinged from the system that operated from World War II through the end of the Soviet Empire. That was a stable system, but it was a system that grew more and more obsolete and more unsustainable. And we're going to be in for a period of turbulence. And what Trump has understood is that you have to really focus on American interest and focus on strengthening the United States if you're going to be in a period of turmoil. So, for example, he withdrew from a whole group of international organizations, all of which had operated against our interest. And, of course, all the globalists and all the Europeans are just screaming because how can you do this? Well, it's not hard. These are organizations that frankly, are badly run and are anti-American and are against our interest. Why should we pay for them?
I was shocked to see the other day because we're trying to get WABC to go worldwide and actually compete with the BBC. That the BBC, our ally, and it's owned by the government, is anti-Semitic and anti-American. How can the British operate the BBC that way?
Well, because British culture has historically been anti-Semitic, and they deeply resent the Americans. Remember, in the back of their head, there was a British Empire. They were the leading center of the planet, and now they're not. Well, they kind of resent that. They'd like to go back to that world. They're not going to, but they'd like to.
Yeah, I remember the words, the sun never sets on the British Empire.
Right, and now it sets pretty often.
Anything else you want to say to the American people on a Sunday morning?
Yeah, look, I think we have a lot of noise and a lot of news that sort of feels like turmoil. But the American system is remarkably resilient. The number of things we're inventing, the number of breakthroughs we're getting, the number of new factories we're opening. I'm actually writing a book about the coming golden age because I actually think we're going to pull away from the rest of the planet and we're going to do amazingly well. And people are going to be very, very proud to be American. And our system is once again going to prove to be the best place for people to pursue happiness and for entrepreneurs to go out and create a better future.
Mr. Speaker, Newt Gingrich, thank you for calling in from Switzerland, and God bless you, and may God always bless America, and we'll catch up and break bread when you get to America. Thank you so much.
Look forward to it.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.